Okay, so welcome to the eDischarge Lunchtime webinar. My name is Stephine, and I'm going to talk you through the invaluable Compucare 8 feature that is eDischarge Summaries. If you have any questions throughout, please pop them into the Q&A on the right, and my colleague Rob will respond. Risks to patient safety can occur on discharge from hospital when vital information is not transferred quickly to GPs and community-based services. For this reason, NHS England requires hospitals to send inpatient and day case e-discharge summaries to GP practices electronically. For private hospitals and clinics, it is best practice to also follow this requirement when submitting data to GPs. This not only increases safety for patients with their data being sent to the right place at the right time, but also reduces time-consuming manual rekeying of data for GPs. Compucare can be set up with the eDischarge summary form that ensures safety and continuity of care during inpatient and day case discharge. The eDischarge form electronically transfers standardized clinical information in accordance with the PRSB standard via the NHS Digital Mesh service. So let's take a look at how this works in Compucare. I'll just share my screen. Bear with me a moment. There we go. Hopefully everybody can see my screen now. Firstly, if we take a look at the setup behind the scenes, all of the settings for eDischarge are held within the External Connection Settings tab within the Global Settings. So if we just have a look here, on the bottom left-hand side, we can see a Use eDischarge toggle. This is currently set to Yes. This needs to be set to Yes to allow you to fill the rest of the details in. The details below we can fill in for you after you have set up a mesh mailbox via the NHS. We would need a copy of these details of the mailbox and password for setup on our side of things. The other thing to note as well is the eDischarge form itself is actually hard-coded. So if I have a look at our forms table, and we find the eDischarge summary, and I'll just edit this to show you what's contained inside it. So this has been set up to include all of the required elements the NHS have specified. We'll be able to see these components shortly when we actually look at the discharge summary on the patient side. So now if we head over to my patient's inpatient booking section, so we can demonstrate the use of the eDischarge summary. I have my patient's inpatient booking here. They are already discharged, as we can see on the timeline. However, I still have the option to create a discharge summary. I can go to my edit drop down here and I have the discharge summary option, or I can right click on the booking itself and I have the discharge summary option here. You might notice that the submit e-discharge summary option below is in fact grayed out. This is because it's unavailable until my discharge summary is complete and also signed off. So I'll just go to my discharge summary. This has taken us to the eDischarge summary form. We can see here the form title of eDischarge summary. The only actual mandatory field here is the clinical summary. So for ease and speed of demonstration purposes, I am only going to fill in this box. But in real life situations, would expect for most, if not all, of the components to be completed. So if I go ahead and scroll down so you can see the different components, I can click Save on my form. The post-action prompts ask if I wish to sign off the form or print. I can do either of these actions at this point, but I am just going to select Finish for now so that you can see where else you can carry out these actions afterwards. Taking me back to my inpatient bookings app, I can simply go to Print, and we have the discharge summary option here. Or if I right click on the booking again and scroll down, I have the print discharge summary option here. So if I just select this so you can see a preview of what that would look like. Might just take a second to load. And I'll just expand that so you can see a little bit clear. So we can see this is the information we saw a moment ago held on the eDischarge summary. But obviously would be filled in with whatever details that you have recorded. And it also holds the patient's information in the top half of the document as well. So to sign off the discharge summary, you can use the shortcut to the form results tab here. And that will take us back to our form results option. We can see our eDischarge summary. And we can either sign off from here like so. We also have the print option as well, which would reprint it also. If I was to edit my document, I could make any amendment to the fields within currently. However, if I return and sign off like so, we firstly can see the status indicators changed to purple and is now marked as signed off. If I return to the edit option, we can see that the fields are in fact grayed out and we wouldn't be able to make any amendments to this. If we wanted to, we would simply revert and then be able to make any amendments if we needed to. So if we return back to our inpatient booking, if we go to the discharge drop down, we have a submit eDischarge summary option, which we saw earlier as well from the right click, submit eDischarge summary. So I'm just going to select that option now. This takes us to the submit eDischarge summary box. We will fill in the details of the staff role of who is submitting the summary. And we also have a toggle for patient GP practice has no mailbox, confirm use of mesh lookup. If there is no practice or the practice does not have mesh lookup, in theory, each GP practice should be mapped to a mesh mailbox to send the eDischarge to. In external mappings, we hold a mapping between the practice and the mesh mailbox. This list is automatically maintained by the Compucare service. It periodically checks recent and upcoming bookings for practices that do not have mapping and fires a message to the mesh client API here to do a lookup. In the event of the practice not having a mapped mailbox in Compucare, we offer the facility, via the toggle in question, to send the submission to mesh lookup instead. In this case, we send the message using patient demographics instead of a mailbox. The mesh service then uses those details to find their registered practice and send to them if possible. Because I'm using a training database and mine isn't configured correctly, I do have that option. Should everything be working and is available, this toggle won't actually be present. Underneath that, we have the author. The author defaults in as the responsible clinician for the booking, but this can be amended if needs be. At this point, when we submit, any issues will pop up in a warning box. I have purposely left one, so in a moment when I click submit, you will see this being demonstrated. So fairly simple, we can see that the patient's date of birth is mandatory. So let's go to the patient record just to fix this issue. So just scroll down, find my date of birth and fill that in. Click Save. And if we repeat those actions, so right click, Submit eDischarge Summary, and fill in my staff role and toggle yes for the lookup. Now that I'm happy I filled in all the details, I'll just click Submit again. There we go. So what we need to do now is head over to our eDischarge Submissions app. When your summary is in here, it will get picked up by the Compucare 8 service and sent. So when this happens, our status will be changed to sent, which it has already, which is brilliant. It means it's all working. And then when it is successful, or if it is successful, our timeline will move to success. If there are any issues with the submission, it will change to a status of either process failure or send failure, with further details about the issue visible on the reading pane, just underneath the associated booking information here. We do have filters on the screen here. If I just expand this option and show more filters, by default, the app hides any replaced eDischarge summaries. However, we do have a toggle here to include them if we need to. We do have a really good knowledge base article that details that process if you need to have a look at it. So feel free to look at our knowledge base. So that covers the main process involved in generating and submitting an eDischarge summary. In regards to the output on the GP side, we can't properly demonstrate this fully, as it really depends on how the GP system renders the summary. I can show you an example of what we have found online, just to give a visual idea of what that would look like. So hopefully that's now all visible for you guys. So we can see a general breakdown of what we saw on our eDischarge form, really. The patient demographics, the eDischarge summary here, and then we have the social context, admission details, all of the same fields that we saw on our eDischarge summary. Like so. So to summarize, introducing this functionality ensures faster patient discharge turnaround times and improved patient satisfaction. You can request more information on this feature by contacting our dedicated customer account managers. Details will be shown shortly on screen. Holly, are there any details of any questions we need to address?
I don't think so at the minute, but like you just said, we can obviously take any questions later on by dropping us a message. I'll pop the details on now.
Perfect. We hope you found this webinar on eDischarge Summaries useful and made use of the live Q&A should you have needed to. Thank you for watching.